Everybody, welcome back to another live stream. I hope you guys are ready for a very exciting day. We have a big data release coming out today, and I would like to just say, why did you guys not tell me that I was looking at Friday's data yesterday? We didn't have none of this yesterday. This is what we were talking about in the pre-market. You guys were just like, oh, cool. Yeah, I trust STV. Guys, sometimes I'm tired in the morning and I miss the day. We had the jobs report yesterday and all that stuff, existing home sales. Instead of this, I completely missed the data that was coming out. So, all right, we're on it today. So here's what we have today, team. I don't know, Ralph. I'm surprised you, Ralph, if you're in here, buddy. I'm surprised you didn't tell me that I missed that one. But yeah, so today we have Flash Services PMI, manufacturing PMI, Boston Fed President Collins speaking. Shout out to you. That's like over, I don't know, somewhere, Boston Fed. And we got Kashkari at 1, Mary Daly at 1 as well. So we do have a couple of Fed speakers here, team. Let's do it. Good morning. You skipped the morning stream. You go off the rails. Yeah, I guess so, bro. It was an accident. I didn't know. I was looking at this yesterday and I was like, because it was like this. I think I had it up here like this. So I was just looking here and I didn't see that it was not Thursday. You guys, lick the like button. That's interesting. Nas the Dragon, what's up, man? Fuck around and find out Friday. That's exactly what it is. I don't want to see any of y'all fucking around and only finding out good things. That's all we want over here. So again, team, the main thing that you guys got to watch out for every single day, like we talk about all the time, trend and respect. That is all you need to. What the shit? Why is this all blurry over here? Can you guys see the screen all right? On my YouTube, it's all jacked up. Ah, no, we're chilling. What date is today? It's thanks, guys. Now you're asking. Friday, September 22nd. That's today. U.S. Services PMI, Manufacturing PMI, and Boston Fed President Collins speaking. So, again, I won't be taking any trades until after 10. Going to wait for the dust to settle. I have a couple of things that I'm looking for. A couple of key levels, maybe a little bit of a pullback down before we end up making that move back to the upside here. We do have this 5-minute 200 EMA sitting right above us here. So let's see if we want to get a little bit spicy shooting to the upside at market open. Typically, what you do like to see after those giant sell-off days is a little bit of a bounce or potentially short covering. Now, the interesting thing about this one, and you can kind of see this little bounce in the pre-market here of about 0.4%. The interesting thing about this daily candle is that we closed near the lows. Selling pressure picking up there pretty aggressively. We are selling off through the level that we sold off before. So if you look at this trend here, you see a high, a lower high, and now you're potentially going to be making this lower low. So if you look at the longer term trend and you look at this potentially maybe on the weekly, it might be a little bit easier to see here. You can see we come up, we make a high, a low, a lower high. Now we're hunting that lower low. Now, for those of you guys that have been asking about the swing list, this is exactly what we were looking to see if this was going to happen, this fail and move back to the downside. So again, we could be looking at some downside swings, but at this point, I mean, the downside swings would have really just been a hedge going into FOMC. Now we really have to wait for the dust to settle and see if this thing wants to make this move back to the upside. So that's really what we got to look for. You've got this daily 200 EMA sitting down here at what? 425.32. It's pretty far away, about $8 from where we're currently trading. It's not out of the question that we do end up coming back down there, though. But just in terms of what we could potentially see today, watch this 200 EMA to see how price reacts up here. If we shoot up to that at market open, if it rejects, you could be looking at something. Let me see if I can find some levels over here. We got this level up here, 4383, previous high there. We've got a low at around, let's say 437 on ES. This is looking at ES here, 437.350. We got a couple of levels down below at 437.250 or 75. We got a couple of those levels down in there as well. If we're going to come back down and potentially follow this trend back to the upside. Now, if you look at ES or SPY on a longer time frame here, it's kind of hard to see on the 5-minute because it's a little bit choppy in the pre-market. You throw this thing on the 15-minute, what do you see? Giant sell-off. Now we're starting to make higher highs, higher lows, but we haven't quite shifted this trend yet because we still have this high back up in here. This is just straight selling to the downside. You could basically look at this very similar to how we draw this, just straight line down. So you really, again, to shift this trend, you want to be able to get above this 434.90 area in order to say, okay, this trend is shifting back to the upside, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't bounce at like this 431.50 area right here and get a nice little scalp back to the upside on a Friday. So as you guys, you can see it easier on the 15-minute here. So like the 5 minutes, kind of hard to see. You kind of see it in here. It's not as pronounced. The 15-minute is showing you that it is starting to make that move back to the upside. It's if, though, are we going to actually continue and shift this trend? Ford and GM, I'm surprised. There has been more the stock prices have been hit harder. Thoughts? You think they haven't or have been hit harder? Also, TLT has got my attention. We can talk about that in a second here too. So everybody pay attention. We're going to do a little bit of TLT shit in the pre-market. All you guys in here for free, you're fucking welcome. I mean, these have sold off aggressively, but they didn't. So Ralph, they didn't quite get the bounce back up that the rest of the market did. Like everybody, when we were in that midweek masterclass, when we went like this, when the straight move down, then the chopping consolidation here, that's kind of what we're seeing on GM. I mean, you can call it a bear flag, but what I really look at it as is, okay, the sellers have pushed this thing down aggressively, and they still are providing, let's say, supply at these areas here, and the buyers still have not really stepped up on these things as of yet. So this is an indecision zone for me. What I would like to see is like reclaiming potentially this 200 and then moving back to the upside. And another really good example of this is Mara. See, we have this drawn out here on this very, very aggressive move down. Would I try to play this back up if it just flatlined in this range? No, I want to see it break down further, run back to the upside, flatline. Why? Well, you need to see those buyers start to step up and reclaim basically the momentum there. It's very similar to what we saw on Tesla on the daily time frame back in here, where we saw aggressive selling, aggressive selling, aggressive selling. If it consolidated down in here, I would not have touched it. But what did we see? It flipped, consolidated, boom, 315%. Thank you. All right, guys. Now we got to talk about some TLT. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of sauce on TLT this morning, just because I love you and you guys are cool. So TLT right now, with the way that yields are, why am I in replay with TLT? That's weird. The way that this is set up right now with TLT, and if you look at this on, let's say, a 3-month time period, we have not been this low on TLT since 2011. That's very, very, very interesting. Now, what you could say here is, all right, TLT is ready for a pop. To me, it's not. There are different ways that we can look at this. And let's go through a couple of different options of what this TLT thing could look like. Because I think that with where we are right now and the timing of a lot of this, it definitely has some more potential downside. So obviously, the first thing that you could definitely think about here, especially after that giant volume day that you saw yesterday on the daily, is selling puts. If you want to have that as a portion of your portfolio over the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years, on basically the thesis that eventually yields are going to come down, selling puts and collecting that premium isn't the worst thing in the world. Because in the meantime, let's say that you want to buy TLT at like 80 or 85, you can sell some longer dated put contracts, collect some premium, and be good to go. That is one option of something that you could do with TLT. The second thing that you could look at is, well, you could start scaling into some leaps. You could start doing something like that. Am I telling you to do any of this? No. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. Watch the TLT videos. Do your own research. I am not probably doing anything on TLT for a little bit. It's just this level is interesting to me at 90. I'm just going over the potential options for you guys that you could have if this is something that you're interested in, so you don't go in blind. Nobody go willy-nilly buying TLT. I know you guys did it last time when I made the TLT video, when we bottom ticked it. Some of you guys made some money. You don't have to do that. I think the bottom tick was here. Yeah, November. It's just interesting to me here. Like, if this thing's selling off to levels that we haven't seen since 2011 in a rising interest rate environment, when we know eventually they're going to come down, is an interesting thing. Do I know where the bottom is? No, nobody does. But it's starting to get a little interesting to me. So, and again, remember, the other reason why I mentioned the selling puts thing in going for shares, maybe for some of you guys, maybe on some of those other ones too, the TMF, T, and X, I think there's a couple of them, is that I don't believe that this TLT move is going to be as aggressive as the one prior to this one to the upside. I don't think it will be. Just because I don't think we're going to go through a period of wild emergency rate cuts. Could it? Yes. Is it probable? I would say probably not. Just because the Fed is really, really trying to get into this soft landing phase. And if they can accomplish even 50% of that, they don't need to do those emergency rate cuts. because that's going to signal that things are terrible in the market. The markets are going to tumble like more aggressive than we've seen in the past. So that's kind of the thesis on TLT. We can probably go more in depth in a video for you guys, just kind of the update on the thesis and where this is. So I can work on that potentially for you guys next week. But yeah, guys, keep smacking that like button on the way in. Helps out a whole lot, spreading these streams out to some more people. And yeah, man, let's get after it today. Trend and respect. That's all we're really going to be looking for. We got the, I'm going to have to schedule that for you guys. We got the premium member stream coming at about 9:35 with everybody. We're going to be having some fun. Remember, guys, end of the month, next week, last chance to hop into Masterclass for 30% off with code Mooney. So if you guys want to hop in before those price increases at the end of next month, make sure you guys are taking advantage of that code if you want to take your trading to the next level and your knowledge of how to navigate markets every single day. But for those of you guys on the sidelines too, you guys can all hop in for free. That link in the top of the live chat there is going to help you guys do that too if you guys are new and want to get your feet wet. Tesla look like it's fighting the downside. Going to be one of those days. I mean, Tesla's up a little bit here. Nothing too crazy. What is this? What the fuck is that? Oh, I know what this is. This isn't a trend line. This is this. This is this stair-stepping move. So, I mean, you got to see if Tesla's going to hold this. I think it looks like it wants to. This daily 48. If it does, you're still in this stair-stepping phase where you go up, flat, down, flat. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, keep any tickers that you guys want to talk about in the pre-market here. Let me know, and we will be good to go, team. Let's see. What's up, Tyler? How you doing, buddy? Why am I not seeing much influence or data from today? Your title sure made me think I was missing something. Services, manufacturing, PMI. Services and manufacturing, PMI. To me, those are important. And then Fed speakers too. So in terms of data, I mean, maybe so the really only data pieces 945 and with services and manufacturing PMI. But in my mind, I wrap in data as Fed speakers as well, which we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them as well today. That A setup was nice yesterday. The A setups are always nice, guys. The A setups are always nice. Let's see. Hold on. Cool. Let's do it. Thanks for clearing that up. No problem. No problem. I mean, services and manufacturing PMI are big. To me, those are big, especially on a day like today after the Fed meeting. And then again, in my brain, I wrap in all those Fed speakers as data as well. They were like 2 yesterday. I didn't take the second one. I told myself I was done for the day. Well, I deleted what I drew out for you guys yesterday, but what did we say? If you guys go back to the streams yesterday, there were 2 scenarios at which we could see play out. We saw the pop, drop, and then the continuation of the trend. When we draw those out every single day, guys, those are important. You got to make sure you're paying attention to those. Those were the A setups to the downside. The second drawing in red, if you go back to yesterday's stream, was exactly what played out yesterday. Can we take a look at NQ futures? Yeah, we can take a look at them. What do you want to know about them? I mean, NQ's ripping. I mean, it was a little bit overcooked here on the 2-minute. We can look at this thing on the 5-minute time frame here. You've run probably, yeah, you blew through this zone. You could come back down and test this zone. Morning prep. Okay, so yeah, I mean, ideally, Nas the Dragon. Here's what I'm looking for. I'm not going to be touching shit until services and manufacturing PMI data come out at 9:45, and then that Fed speaker, I forget who it is. Is it Boston? Yeah, Boston Fed President Collins speaks at 10. There's a couple of things that I'm looking for. I want to see if the SPY is going to reject this 200 EMA here. I want to see if it's going to come down into potentially one of these levels that we've set in the after hours of the pre-market and potentially bounce off of there and continue this little short term uptrend here that we've started to set after this sell-off yesterday. But you're going to see a lot of craziness, I think, with the data in the Fed speaker. So you want to wait for the dust settles after that. And I want to make sure I put this back on ES so I don't get confused. That's not ES. This is ES. You've also been using GoldenEye without RSI and you feel like your entries are much better? Yeah, they are. Because remember what I've said before is like you could have scenarios in which they match up perfectly. But there are going to be some, especially on the moves that overextend, that it's going to lag a little bit for when the RSI long signal starts to come in. We've talked about this before. So you can use that as added confirmation on the move. You have supported resistance levels and VP levels on your chart. Do we need both? Can you explain? You don't necessarily need both, Lori. They can be helpful. So if you have the support and resistance levels on your chart, just based on price, those are going to help you and look at, okay, this is where price has been respected. But when you have the VP levels on there, what you're essentially saying is, okay, you have volume coming in and setting a level, big volume coming in and setting a level. So what does that tell us? Well, if there was a lot of volume buying or selling at a certain level, you can think about it. And this is a good way to just kind of think. It doesn't mean that this is actually the reality, but this is a good way to think about it. Let's say that there are large institutions that have to make moves in the market. When they start to do things in the market, the volume is going to start to pick up at very specific points because they're trading with aggressive size. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that all the time they're going to get their entire order filled because some of these institutions, a BlackRock, a Vanguard, or a large hedge fund, has so many orders or let's say shares or contracts that they need to get filled. So when you start to see price move off of a level with high volume, which is what you see with those VP levels, it means that there could still be some sitting orders down beneath or above at those levels that are painted for you. Now, what that means is that when price gets to that level again, you could easily see it reject or bounce because, well, those institutions didn't necessarily get all their orders filled there. That's how the VP levels, I think, should be thought about with you guys. It's volume. So you start to, and again, it could just be it could not be the institutions. It could be just there's something happening in the market that causes large volume, but the result is the same. There's a lot of orders that need to get filled there or want to get filled at those levels. When we come back to those levels, you're probably going to see like some buying or selling pressure start to pick up again. Does that make sense? So it's basically using either price as the area, because you could just see a level here that's created, but no giant volume spike. What the VP levels are showing you is when that volume actually picks up. You took off BJ since you have the VP levels from the Genie. You don't want to clutter your chart. That's perfectly fine, man. Yes, thank you. Perfect, Lori. So it's just a slightly different way at looking at levels. You might have less of them. You might have more of them. It just depends. David, good morning, buddy. Good morning, everybody. All right, we are 3 likes away from 50. Keep smacking that like on the way in. Let's do it. Is there a way to tell whether it's a bearish or bullish with the VP level? Well, if it's above price, probably bearish level. It's below price. It's probably it's the same way that you would read normal levels. You would say, all right, well, after this level was created, like let's say it's a 5-minute chart and you see the volume pick up and you see that VP level be created and you start selling off of it in the morning and then you come back up to it later in the day. Well, it's very obvious that you sold through that level there. There's 2 ways to do it. So let's actually draw this out so that this makes sense. So let's say you see something like this. That's not what I want. Let's say you see something like this. And price rejects. And on the right here, you have that big VP level showing big volume. Let's say, oops, big volume up in here. That doesn't line up, but hold on. So let's see. Where is this? Right here. So you see the big VP level come in like this. So it sticks up, and let's actually make this so it makes sense. That's in orange. So let's say you have the orange VP level right here, and price rejects off of it. If we then start to move back up like this later in the day, let's say, well, then I would be watching this level to say, this one right here, that's at the top of here, okay, we definitely could be getting some selling pressure in here, so I would be watching for a potential rejection. Would I blindly buy the level? No. Here's a second outcome that you guys can also look at. Since this was such an aggressive level, let's say that this is a VP level and you sell off of it, but maybe not that aggressively, and then this happens. Learning to read level 2 data would help understand VP levels or BJ levels. VP, yeah, definitely. So let's say this happens. So you've sold off of this orange area right here, this VP line. So volume picked up here, you sold off, but you blast through it. Well, in order to actually get through this level with all those sitting orders here, what can you then deduce? Buyers were strong enough to take out all of the orders sitting around here. So now let's say price fucks around, it does all this shit, it maybe comes back up a little, but then comes back down here. This is a question for the live chat. What would you then expect to happen if buyers were strong enough to push it through that big VP level, the volume profile level? What would you then expect would be the most likely outcome after the selling has been invalidated here? What would you expect as a likely outcome? Let's see. I want to see the answers in the live chat. Consolidate and push up, bounce. Exactly, that it will bounce again. Will it always happen? No. But it's giving you an idea of what could potentially happen. So it's all really exactly perfect. I like that you guys understand this. Perfect. So what you're seeing here is this push through, and it's just volume. You're just saying, okay, at this level, there was a lot of interest to push this thing down. Selling off a little here. But then the buyer said, yeah, fuck you. We retest it, but we know that the buyers were strong here because they had to be. There was no way for them to push it through this level unless they were strong. So you're flipping the level. It's basically like saying old resistance turning into new support, just putting more context to it and saying, oh, it's because volume. That's all that is. Now, does that make sense to everybody with the VP levels? Does that make sense? I hope it does. Yes? Perfect. 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 It's like my glory hole analogy. I'd never made a glory hole analogy. Stop. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So that's all that is. It's just a different way of looking at levels. It's like your brick wall analogy. Yeah, that's what it is. A brick wall analogy. It's not what you guys are saying over here is all that nonsense. You're going to behave today? No comments about how I said. Moto? Also, I don't know if Jessica's in here, but Jessica, you had me fucking cackling this morning. Cackling with that message that you sent. I was laughing so hard. Share the message. It's in Market Talk. It's in Market Talk. She fucking... It was at 8:38 a.m. if you guys want to go look at it. I'm not going to read it on the stream, but I was laughing really hard. You made me laugh, Jessica. That was fun. All right, let's see. We got 5 minutes to go until the ding ding. I'm going to send, remember guys, all of you premium members, I'm going to send you guys the premium member live stream link. We're probably going to start at either 9:35 or 9:40. I gotta schedule that. I forgot to schedule it last night or this morning. I was on a million phone calls this morning. It's about wife stealer STV. Bang! Wife steal. Critical damage. We should all hum the Rocky theme in solidarity for Gabe's son. Dude, when he told me that, I was thinking in my mind, because I didn't know how like he felt about it first. And like he texted me, he was like, I can't because of this. And I waited a second and he was like, kind of fucking epic. And I was like, dude, that's the most epic shit I've heard all day. I was like, that's awesome. Fuck that kid. Fuck around and find out. Okay, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you one story. So when I was in the master stream yesterday, when I said I accidentally snitched on my dad, this kid one time, I'm not gonna say who it was bullying me for a while when I was really young. Bullying me hard. And this is why bullying is good. Not good, but like standing up for yourself is good. So when I was young, I might have been 8. I don't know. Because I started boxing when I was young. So I could throw a punch when I was a kid. Because I don't know if I've told you guys this, but my dad's a fucking giant. And he's quick as fuck. The speed that this giant dude has is terrifying. So me as like an 8-year-old, and I think I've told this story before, where he like put his glove in them. He like wouldn't put his glove all the way in, so his reach was even longer. And I'm 8, dude. I got like T-Rex arms, like screwing around. So one day he was like, if this happens, just, and I was like, okay. So I'm playing soccer somewhere, and this kid is like pulling on my shirt, like trying to like basically tackle me. So I just go, whack. Sorry, left hook to the temple. Kid drops. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I'm getting yelled at by all these parents. I'm crying now because I'm a child. Everybody's yelling at me. And I look at my dad and I go, but you told me to. And I was like, oh, that was just not the thing to say. Not the thing to say. So then guess what? Never got bullied again. He was afraid of fucking left hook over there. Never happened again. All right, guys. Let's see. We got a couple minutes to go until the ding ding here. Market's selling off a little bit going into open. Let's see what we get. But team, that is going to wrap up the morning stream. I'm going to send you guys the link to the premium member stream in a bit. And we are good to go. So team, happy fuck around and find out Friday. For those of you guys that still need to get masterclass, make sure you guys are hopping in there. You have until the end of the month to use that 30% off Mooney code. And yeah, all you guys sitting on the sidelines, check that link out at the top of the live chat. Come and join us for free. But team, see you in a bit. Peace.